care of his truck nicely, and that's good. He takes care of his family, got his kids, runs around with them, and got some good-looking kids, and it's because their mom's a good-looking gal. And he was a darn good quarterback for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. We're going to talk some Super Bowl with Brandon Weeden. Brandon, how are you?
What's up, Roberto? How we doing, man?
Doing good. And a couple of things. Brandon was on Sirius. He's on Sirius Big 12 network, Big 12 this morning every Wednesday, so you can hear him talking about things. And it's always fun. I always make sure I'm usually at the gym at the Y, and I crank it up and listen to Brandon. That's why I wanted to get him on to talk some Super Bowl. But two things. Yes, you were recruited, and you didn't even know you were being recruited. The second time around, when you left spring training with the Royals, and you said, okay, that's it for baseball, I got a call from a family friend of yours that said, hey, Brandon's at Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix heading home. Can you let Oklahoma State know? Because he said, I think he should go to Oklahoma State. I said, you damn right I'll let him know. I called Fedora at the office. They're doing spring football. And I said, Larry, Brandon Weeden is leaving professional baseball. You need to get a hold of him. Here's his phone number. Here's his dad's phone number. Here's his brother's phone number. And I said, he goes, who is Weeden? And because, Fedora came in with Gundy, and it was after you had signed with the Yankees. And he goes, oh, never mind. I'll go look him up. I get a call. He probably watched 2 minutes of tape because I get a call back in 2 minutes saying, this guy's got a hell of an arm. I said, yes, he does. He has a great arm. He's a great guy. He'll be perfect. And, I'm just trying to help pave the way. So that all was going on behind the scenes. And, again, you won a championship at Oklahoma State. I think I know this kills Gundy, but when I'm asked the question, who's the greatest quarterback in Oklahoma State history, it takes me about half a second to say Brandon Weeden. So,
well, I appreciate that.
Anyway, and we've had some good ones.
Yeah, we have. We've had a bunch of good ones. That's a good problem. Hopefully there's better ones along the way. But, no, I appreciate that. It seems like forever ago. I mean, I know exactly where I was and kind of how the whole thing went down whenever I was basically, done playing baseball, and I was at my mom and dad's office. I think it was the day after I got home, and that's when I kind of decided. I didn't even tell Melanie at the time. I'm sure she wasn't real thrilled, but that's when I decided it was, I was gonna make that move. And so, yeah, it all worked out, man. When I went back, I mean, I was just hoping to God I had a chance to play, at Oklahoma State. Dang sure didn't think I'd have a chance to play in the NFL, but it's just funny how things work out. It's the long road, and I enjoyed every minute of it.
And it's funny because I just said earlier, I hate to think. I've got a trivia question. Oklahoma State's got the only players, one to have won 4 Super Bowls with the same team, and the other lose 4 Super Bowls with the same team. And I always think about, this has got to be a rough weekend for Thurman Thomas, and all those Bills, because what they accomplished was incredible, but they lost all 4. And so I always hate thinking about Thurman on Super Bowl weekend, but I was just wondering, and I mean, I know I'm bringing up a tough point, but when all that was going on, in my mind, I couldn't get past, okay, Brandon's sitting in Sky Harbor Airport waiting on a flight to come home. He knows he's saying goodbye to pro baseball. I wonder how he's feeling. I hope he's not too sad, but how tough was that when you said, okay, the baseball dream's over, got to move on?
Oh man, I was nervous as hell. I'll be honest. I mean, I didn't know what was next. I knew that my baseball days were done. I even told them whenever I had kind of gotten released there, I said, guys, my baseball days are done. My arm hurts. I'm not throwing near as hard as I used to. So I told the guys that when I got released, I said, my plan is to go back to school and play football. And they looked at me like I had 20 heads. They're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? I didn't know he played football. And anyway, I was scared. I was scared. I didn't know what was next. I didn't know I was going to get Oklahoma State. I was hopeful maybe either, UCO. I wanted to stay relatively close just because I had been traveling so much. And, I remember, I think we started June 7th of 2007. I showed up. Obviously, I'm the old man, and it was like Des Bryant and Kendall Hunter and I'm trying Josh Cooper, and we had a bunch of really good players who went on to play, and I got there and I'm like, man, what did I sign up for, man? I'm not sure I'm cut out for this. I've been a soft baseball player for the last 5 years. Now I'm about to get my butt kicked by Rob Glass. And anyway, it was the best decision I ever made. And I mean, every time I go back to Stillwater, I get off on 51. I kind of get goosebumps. I just get so excited. And I'm actually going up tomorrow, so I can't wait to get up. But yeah, just man, a lot of unknown. And I'll be honest, I was scared to death.
It worked out. It was a heck of a deal for Oklahoma State, and I guess the way you talk for Brandon Weeden. All right, let's talk some Super Bowl. The cool thing about being a quarterback is this is a quarterback's game Sunday. I mean, you got Mahomes on one side, you got Brady on the other. I know you lined up against Brady before. I don't know if you ever was Mahomes. Did you see Mahomes before you got out of the league?
We played against him. I was not the starter, but yeah, we played against him. So I've seen that up close and personal, and it's insane. He's so damn good.
What are you going to be watching Sunday? What are you looking at out of these two guys that could make one or the other be the difference maker for his team?
I think that. I mean, being a quarterback, you catch yourself watching other quarterbacks. The whole really just offense. You kind of you see the game through a little bit of a different lens. But yeah, I'm going to be watching that, and I said that on that Big 12 show you're referring to earlier. I hope people don't take this for granted. I mean, we're talking about the best that's ever done it. One of the best players in any competitive sport, and Tom Brady, and a guy that may take over that reign before it's all said and done. And a young player in Patrick Mahomes. But we're talking about true greatness, and for them to be able to square off, Super Bowl. Brady doing it at 43 years old, and Mahomes trying to go back to back. I mean, it really is unbelievable, and especially if you've been around the NFL and you've seen what it takes just to make the playoffs, how hard it is, and you see a guy that has a chance to win back to back, and then a guy that has a chance to win 7. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's comparable to watching Michael Jordan in his prime, and I know that's high praise, but Tom Brady in the game of football is kind of in that same realm of conversation. So I'm going to be watching these quarterbacks. I'm going to see how Kansas City adjusts and tries to slow down that pass rush. Tampa, I think that's going to be a problem. And I expect Andy Reid to kind of dial him up, get the ball out of his hand, and don't let that defensive line kind of wreak havoc. Given all the injuries and stuff they have going on up front in Kansas City. So it's going to be a heck of a game. It's going to be. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, you mentioned that was my next question. How concerned are you for Mahomes in Kansas City? Eric Fisher is just a great left tackle. He tore the Achilles in the AFC Championship game. Now you're starting center. There's a good chance he'll play, but he's sitting out in quarantine right now or contact tracing because he got a haircut from a team barber that has COVID. I mean, this is crazy stuff. And for Mahomes, he is facing a really darn good pass rush in Tampa.
Yeah, and there's several things. Kind of answer your question in two answers. Is if Kilgore's not able to play the center, I mean everybody knows about the left tackle, blind side, the whole deal, but losing the center is probably just as big as of a blow. I mean, just because he's kind of the quarterback that's making all the calls, the ace calls, the Mike linebacker calls, whoever's kind of gets everybody going on the same track. So that's going to be a big loss. I think he does play, but if they were to lose him, that's a big one. But Mitchell Schwartz is probably not going to play. The right tackles, he's missing both tackles. Kansas City does such a good job. They'll do some things, some jet sweep type stuff. I'm sure they'll do some perimeter stuff, some screens, some all kinds of things to kind of slow down that pass rush and get the ball out of Mahomes' hand. I don't think they're going to ask him to drop back 35 times and sling it. They may, but if they do, they better have a plan. They better use the backs and the tight ends to chip and knock the crud out of those edge rushers, because they got some good rushers at Tampa. But yeah, I think I don't know, the defense for Tampa is playing pretty good. I didn't give them a whole lot of credit 5, 6, 7 weeks ago. I thought they were kind of just underperforming, if you will. They got some good players, but they can find a way to slow. You're not going to stop Kansas City for 4 quarters. You gotta find a way to slow them down, and it starts with obviously pressuring Mahomes, and it obviously starts with trying to slow down Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So good luck to them. I don't know how they're going to do it, but there hasn't been many teams that have found the recipe to slow those guys down. They're just it's just a really dynamic offense.
Yeah, and I didn't give them enough credit until I saw they did something very few teams can do. They made Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. You could tell he's like, and he doesn't get that way very often. So now Patrick Mahomes is a different animal. Here's the other thing: some of the stuff that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy that they, the underhand pitches, the I sometimes I wonder, because Kansas City's made such a success out of those concepts, why other teams don't do it more, or is Mahomes kind of unique that he can throw with all the angles and he's such a good freelancer?
Yeah, I think, and you know this, I mean, the league is such a copycat league, so I'd be shocked if half the teams don't have those plays in. They don't have the guts to call them. I would assume there's some of that going on, but they also realize they don't have Patrick Mahomes pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you got to give Andy Reid and Bieniemy credit. I mean, probably as far as the innovation goes of offense, I mean, you gotta say that they're probably the most innovative offensive coordinator, head coach, whatever you want to call them. I mean, in the NFL, I mean, they find new wrinkles and gadgets and motions, and they make it hard on defenses. You can't just sit back and pin your ears back and come after them. I mean, there's almost got to be a bend don't break type philosophy if you're playing defense against them. But Todd Bowles, I've played against Todd Bowles. He does not like to sit back and be patient. He wants to come after you. So it'll be an interesting, the chess match between Bowles and Andy Reid will be interesting, because, like I said, I know the demeanor of Todd Bowles. He wants to come. I mean, he wants to come often. I think they blitz more than any other team in the league, in the playoffs. I believe I heard that. And so I don't know how you attack Patrick Mahomes. I told those guys the other day, if I'm the defense coordinator and I'm playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, there's got to be when they're in a 3-by-1 formation, or Tyreek Hill's on a single receiver side in a 3-by-1. I'm using defensive ends, linebackers, safeties, whoever, but I'm going to get up to the line of scrimmage and I'm just going to jam and beat the crud out of Travis Kelce, try to disrupt the timing. And then whenever Tyreek Hill's by himself, I'm going to double him, whether I'm a single high safety or 2 deep safety. I'm going to try to double him and just make those other guys beat you. Kind of the Bill Belichick philosophy of, take away the best player and kind of rely on your guys to lock up the number 2, 3, and 4 receivers. And I think in order to do that, you got to be physical at the line of scrimmage. You can't let those guys just run into the defense. If you do, it's going to be a long, long night for Tampa, in my opinion.
All right, last thing. We've really hit a lot on Mahomes and haven't given as much credit to Brady. I know the guys are good, and the guys were good in New England, okay, but they weren't just guys that exploded on you as far as the other playmakers around, except maybe Gronk, who he's now carried with him to Tampa. And now he goes down to Tampa, who had all these guys before with supposedly good quarterbacks and couldn't get it done. How good is Brady? How really good is his mind and what he's able to do for an offensive football team?
Yeah, he's incredible. I think the difference. I think the reason they lost as many games as they did last year is turnovers. I mean, he's kind of cleaned that up and cut those almost in the third. So I think turnovers is the main thing. But the one thing about a guy like that, when you like, even when I was around like guys like Jason Witten and Tony Romo, when you play with guys and you're on the same team, it's amazing. Guys, I don't know how you explain it. They don't want to let those guys down, so they may do extra. They just he has a way of bringing guys along and just winning. I mean, he just at 43 years old, everybody first 5, 6, 7 games of the year. I mean, everybody was talking about how he's done. He should have retired. What the hell was he thinking going to Tampa? He can't get it right with these guys. Well, I mean, he didn't have training camp. He didn't have preseason. He didn't have many practices. It takes time. And, yeah, he's got good players. But, when he talks, I guarantee you could hear a mouse. You could hear a pin drop in that huddle because guys are going to listen. He just has the ability to bring those guys along with him. And when you win 6 Super Bowls, I think coaches included. I mean, Byron Leftwich has done a great job as an offensive coordinator. Obviously, Bruce Arians is a good football coach. But when Brady talks, trust me, they listen, and he's got that it, you don't come in the league with it. He's earned it, and he's just. I've played against him. I think I've played against Brady 5 or 6 times, and every time I walk away, just in awe of what he does in the pocket. He's not mobile. The new age quarterback. He's the opposite of that. Heck, I'm faster than he is, and he still just can sit back there and carve you up and beat you with his mind. So, yeah, he's the GOAT. I mean, he's the greatest of all time. And like I said earlier, I think people that are watching need to, really sit back and cherish it, because who knows how many more times you're going to get a chance to watch him play.
Hey, Brandon, we'll let you go. I appreciate it. And again, you coming up for the Texas game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to bring the boys up, me, Mel, and the boys. So I'm looking forward to it. They haven't been up to a game, and they've been begging me to come up. So yeah, we're going to come up and hopefully see them bounce back and get a win against a good basketball team.
They'll love it. That'll be great tomorrow. So hey, I appreciate it, and thanks, and we'll see you soon.
All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right, Brandon Weeden, former Oklahoma State Cowboy quarterback, and